There are plants sitting in your local nursery right now that could quietly poison your pets, make you sick, or even damage your garden soil, and most people have no idea. They look stunning, they sell fast, and yes, I used to buy them too. But one day, one of those beautiful plants nearly sent my cat to the vet, and that changed how I garden forever. Hi friends, I'm Sarah, and welcome to Purely Garden, the place where we grow beauty, the safe and natural way. Today I'm revealing the 7 most dangerous plants you should never buy from nurseries, plus the safer, gorgeous alternatives that I personally use in my garden. So grab your cup of tea, settle in, and let's make sure your garden stays beautiful, healthy, and safe. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell, because here on Purely Garden, we believe in growing pure, not poisonous. Plant number 1, Oleander. When I first saw an oleander bush at a local nursery, I was mesmerized. The blossoms were the most perfect shade of pink, and the leaves had that lush Mediterranean look that made me feel like I was walking through a seaside garden. Without thinking twice, I bought 2 and planted them right by my front gate, where everyone could admire them. But what I didn't know back then is that oleander is one of the most toxic ornamental plants you can grow. Every single part of it, the leaves, flowers, even the sap, is poisonous. The toxins, called cardiac glycosides, can cause heart problems if ingested by pets or children. Even burning the leaves releases fumes that can irritate your lungs and eyes. I'll never forget the day my neighbor's dog wandered over and sniffed at the fallen oleander blooms near my fence. That same evening, her dog got violently sick. Thankfully, he recovered after a vet visit, but that moment made my heart drop. I went out the next morning and pulled every single oleander from my yard. If you love that tropical burst of color, don't worry, there's a safer choice. Try hibiscus or desert rose. Hibiscus gives you those same bold, dramatic blooms in reds, yellows, and pinks, and it's completely pet safe. Desert rose, on the other hand, offers that sculptural shape and rich blossoms without the hidden danger. Both look stunning, thrive in warm climates, and won't harm curious hands or paws. So if you ever see oleander at your local nursery, admire it from a distance, but leave it right there. Some beauty just isn't worth the risk. Plant number 2, Foxglove. Digitalis purpura foxglove has always been one of those plants that captures your heart instantly. Tall, elegant spires of bell-shaped flowers swaying gently in the breeze. It feels like something out of an English fairy tale garden. When I first started gardening, I fell for that charm completely. I planted a few along my garden path, thinking they'd be the perfect cottage touch. But a few weeks later, while doing some late-night reading about garden plants, I learned something that made my stomach turn. Foxglove contains compounds called digitalis glycosides, the same substances used to make heart medication. In small doses, they can cause serious heart irregularities, or even stop your heart entirely. That realization hit hard. I'll never forget the day my little niece came to visit. She was playing in the yard, picking flowers, and pretending to make fairy soup. I turned around for 1 second, and saw her holding a foxglove bloom in her tiny hand. My heart stopped. I ran over, and took it from her, explaining gently why we couldn't touch that one. That was the last day foxgloves ever grew in my garden. If you love that graceful tall flower look, don't worry, you can still have it safely. Snapdragons are the perfect alternative. They mimic the same tower of colorful blooms but are completely non-toxic. Plus they attract pollinators like bees and butterflies without posing any harm. Another great option is penstemon, which has a similar bell shape and vibrant color range, but is safe for both kids and pets. Foxglove may look like the queen of the garden, but trust me, no plant is worth a trip to the emergency room. Choose the beauty that loves you back. Plant number 3, Dieffenbachia, dumb cane. This one might surprise you because it's sold everywhere, from fancy garden centers to small corner shops. Dieffenbachia, or dumb cane, is a common houseplant with large striking leaves splashed with green, cream, and yellow. It's often promoted as an easy plant for beginners, low light, minimal care, and fast growth. and I'll be honest, I once loved it too. A few years ago, I had one sitting proudly on my kitchen counter. It looked so lush and healthy, I even posted a picture of it online, calling it my new favorite indoor beauty. But one morning, I found my cat nibbling on one of its leaves. Within minutes, she started drooling and pawing at her mouth, clearly in pain. I panicked and rushed her to the vet. That was when I learned the truth. Dieffenbachia contains needle-like calcium oxalate crystals that can cause burning, swelling, and intense pain if chewed or even touched near the mouth. It's called dumb cane because it can literally make you unable to speak for hours due to the swelling. That experience shook me deeply. I couldn't believe that something sold so casually could cause so much harm. I immediately replaced it with safer, pet-friendly options that gave my home the same tropical vibe, just without the danger. If you love the look of Dieffenbachia, try Calathea or Peperomia instead. Calatheas have stunning patterned leaves that move gently throughout the day, and Peperomias come in all kinds of shapes and textures, from glossy to velvety. Both are completely non-toxic and thrive indoors with minimal fuss. Dieffenbachia taught me one of my hardest garden lessons: not everything green belongs in your home. Safety should always come before aesthetics, because a beautiful home isn't truly beautiful if it puts your loved ones at risk. Plant number 4, Angel's Trumpet, Brugmansia. The first time I saw an angel's trumpet, I actually gasped. The blooms were enormous, soft, trumpet-shaped flowers, hanging upside down, swaying gently in the afternoon breeze. They looked almost otherworldly, like something from a dream garden. I remember thinking, this is it. This is the showstopper my backyard needs. So of course I bought one. For a while, it was perfect. Each evening, its sweet fragrance would fill the air, especially after a summer rain. But one day, I noticed my neighbor's toddler reaching out to touch the flowers while we were chatting over the fence. Later that evening, her mum called to say her little girl had rubbed her eyes after touching the plant, and her eyes had swollen and turned red. Thankfully, she recovered quickly, but that incident sent me down a rabbit hole of research. That's when I found out the horrifying truth. Angel's Trumpet contains tropane alkaloids, powerful toxins that can cause hallucinations, confusion, paralysis, or even death if ingested. Even a small amount of sap on your skin can cause irritation. I was shocked. The same plant that filled my garden with fragrance was, in reality, one of the most dangerous ornamentals around. The next morning, I dug it up. I couldn't bring myself to keep something so risky, especially knowing how curious children and pets can be. If you've ever been drawn to that dramatic pendulous bloom, don't worry, you can still have something just as captivating and completely safe. Try fuchsias or hanging petunias instead. Fuchsias have that same drooping, elegant flower form, and they thrive beautifully in hanging baskets or shaded patios. Petunias offer rich colors and a soft fragrance, but without the danger hiding beneath the surface. Angel's Trumpet taught me a powerful truth. Sometimes the most enchanting things in the garden come with the darkest secrets. When beauty feels too perfect to be true, it's worth asking why. Plant number 5, Sago Palm. When I first discovered the Sago Palm, I thought I'd found the perfect statement plant. It had that elegant tropical look, thick, glossy fronds, a bold structure, and the promise of easy care. Nurseries often display it front and center, right under bright lights, as if it's the ultimate symbol of luxury gardening. So of course I brought one home and placed it near my porch to add that resort-style charm. It was stunning for months, until one afternoon when a friend came over with her golden retriever. The dog sniffed around the base of the plant and chewed on one of the small seeds that had dropped. We didn't think much of it at first, but later that night, my friend called in tears. Her dog had become violently ill. After a rush to the emergency vet, we found out the truth. The Sago Palm is extremely toxic, especially to dogs. Even one seed can cause liver failure, and in many cases, death. That story broke me. I couldn't believe something so common, so casually sold at garden stores, could be that deadly. I looked at the plant differently after that. It didn't seem beautiful anymore, just dangerous. I removed it from my porch the very next morning, and I've never bought one again. If you love that tropical palm-like vibe, there are much safer alternatives. Try the Areca palm or the parlor palm. Both have the same graceful fronds. They purify indoor air, and best of all, they're completely non-toxic to pets. They bring the same lush greenery, the same relaxing feel, but without the risk. Sago palms might look timeless and sophisticated, but once you know their truth, they lose their innocence. Sometimes in gardening, protecting the ones we love means choosing life over looks, and that's a trade I'll make every single time. Plant number 6, rhododendron and azalea. I used to think azaleas were the dream shrub for any garden. Bright, cheerful blooms that explode in color every spring, low maintenance, and perfect for filling borders. My grandmother even had an entire hedge of them, and I grew up thinking they were the gold standard of a beautiful, welcoming garden. So when I started my own, I planted 3 right beside my walkway, feeling proud every time they burst into color. Then one morning, I woke up to my neighbor pounding on my door. Her goat, who often wandered into my yard, had eaten a few leaves off my azalea bush. Within hours, the poor thing was trembling, vomiting, and weak. I'll never forget the panic on her face as she rushed the animal to the vet. Thankfully, the goat survived, but the vet confirmed what I never knew. Azaleas and rhododendrons contain toxins, chemicals that affect the heart and nervous system. Even a few leaves can cause severe poisoning in animals, and yes, they can make humans sick too if ingested. That was the day I realized something important. Just because a plant is sold everywhere doesn't mean it's safe. I removed those azaleas immediately, even though it broke my heart to lose that pop of color. But safety has to come first. If you love those vibrant spring flowers, don't worry, there are beautiful and safer alternatives. Try camellias or gardenias. Camellias bloom with elegant rose-like flowers that add timeless charm, and gardenias bring that heavenly fragrance every gardener dreams of. Both are non-toxic and easy to grow once established. Azaleas and rhododendrons may seem innocent, but they remind me that beauty without awareness can be dangerous. The more I've learned, the more I believe every gardener should plant with knowledge, not just with their eyes. Because in the end, a truly pure garden is one that's safe for every living thing that visits it. Plant number 7, English ivy, Hedera helix.
English ivy is one of those plants that seduces you with charm.
It looks timeless, romantic, and effortlessly elegant, trailing down stone walls, climbing fences, or filling indoor pots with cascading greenery. When I first started gardening, I dreamed of having an ivy-covered wall like the ones you see in old English cottages. So I bought a few pots from a local nursery and planted them near my porch. Within months, they were growing fast, lush, thick, and green. I thought I had finally created my little storybook garden. But then the problems began. The ivy started creeping into the cracks of my wall, wrapping around drain pipes, and even sneaking into the window edges. It looked beautiful from a distance, but underneath that charm, it was doing real damage. When I finally decided to trim it back, I did it barehanded, a big mistake. Within an hour, my arms were covered in an itchy rash.
That's when I learned English ivy contains triterpenoid saponins, compounds that can irritate the skin and cause severe allergic reactions. And it doesn't stop there. If pets or small children chew the leaves, it can lead to vomiting, drooling, and breathing difficulties. Plus, when planted outdoors, it becomes highly invasive, choking out native plants and suffocating trees. What once looked enchanting quickly became a nightmare to control. I spent the next few weeks pulling it out, piece by piece, only to find new shoots returning from hidden roots. If you love the look of trailing vines, but want to avoid the trouble, go for Swedish ivy or pothos, especially marble queen or neon pothos. Swedish ivy has soft, round leaves and a lovely cascading habit. It's perfect for hanging baskets and window shelves.
Pothos gives that same lush, flowing effect indoors and grows happily with very little care. Both are safe, manageable, and won't take over your home or garden. English ivy taught me that not every plant that looks classic belongs in a modern garden. Sometimes the best gardens aren't the ones that mimic old traditions. They're the ones that grow safely, responsibly, and harmoniously with everything around them. Bonus: lilies, Easter lilies, Asiatic lilies, and day lilies. Lilies are breathtaking, graceful stems, elegant petals, and a fragrance that fills the whole room. They're the kind of flower that makes any garden or bouquet look instantly luxurious. When I first started gardening, lilies were my go-to plant for adding a touch of class. I planted them in neat rows by my walkway, and I even used them as centerpieces for indoor arrangements. I thought I was doing everything right, but one morning, I noticed something strange. My cat, Daisy, had a bit of pollen on her nose and was acting unusually quiet. Within hours, she started vomiting and refusing to eat. I rushed her to the vet, terrified. That was when I learned the shocking truth. Lilies are extremely toxic to cats. Even a small lick of pollen, a nibble on a leaf, or drinking water from a vase of lilies can cause kidney failure. There's no safe amount, and the reaction can be fatal if not treated immediately. Daisy was lucky. We caught it early, and she recovered. But that day, I removed every single lily from my home and garden. It's heartbreaking because lilies are truly some of nature's most stunning flowers. But beauty shouldn't come with a cost. If you love that same elegant shape and sophisticated look, there are wonderful alternatives. Orchids offer that graceful sculptural bloom and come in endless colors and patterns. Peace lilies spatifilum, despite their name, aren't true lilies. They're much safer and bring that same serene tropical charm to any room. So as beautiful as lilies are, they're best admired from afar or in someone else's garden. For pet owners especially, this is one plant that simply isn't worth the risk. Because in a truly pure garden, every bloom should bring peace of mind, not worry. When I first started gardening, I used to think that if a plant was sold at a nursery, it had to be safe. But after years of learning the hard way, I've realized that beauty can sometimes hide danger. From oleanders to lilies, these plants remind us that being a gardener isn't just about growing, it's about protecting. If there's one thing I want you to take away from today's video, it's this: always know what you plant. A garden should be a place of peace, not poison. Every flower, every leaf, every corner of your yard should be safe for your family, your pets, and the wildlife that visit. Which of these plants surprised you the most? Have you ever had a close call with a toxic plant? I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Your experience might save someone else's pet or child. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps this new channel grow. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you don't miss more garden wisdom from me, Sarah, here on Purely Garden. Remember, grow with love, grow with awareness, and always keep your garden purely safe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.